the lack of strength of schedule. Yeah, they're number 7 in the country, but when you compare it to a schedule that Carolina had, it's levels to it. And with this Florida team, not to take anything away from them, because look, they dog walked my Southern Illinois Salukis in Gainesville. So I don't even want to bring that game up. That was damn near a 40-point loss for my dogs. So you have a team, obviously, with the size. We saw that tonight. Defensively, they can do some things with their size as well, but also score the basketball. When you're looking at their trio of guys that put in work, I mean, Will Richard, Walter Clayton Jr., Alijah Martin, like those three guys combining for over 50 points tonight against Carolina. And they just made those plays, especially Alijah Martin on one of those plays for Florida coming off for that three and the catch and shoot, right? I mean, he got the daylight, got the space, and knocked it down. I mean, these are veteran guys that have the size, that understand how to win. And when you compare it to the roster of Carolina and guys getting these minutes, you can't really compare that with the experience that Florida is bringing to the court. So when you have those situations, Jeff, of a Florida team, and we saw how possibly we've seen some weaknesses in Florida's game, up big early, right? 12-point lead at halftime. Carolina opens up the second half with an 11-0 run. Are you concerned with Florida moving forward, especially with them playing, in my opinion, the best conference in the nation in the SEC? Because they got a couple of tough games against Kentucky and against Tennessee coming up soon.
So I talked to their guards and Todd Golden after the game, and I think they loved how this game went. They loved the fact that they built that lead. And obviously they didn't love the turnovers and how it got to that point. But they loved the fact that they were in a game at the end and they grinded it out. And they made plays when it mattered because they hadn't been in that game. They know everybody's, like they hadn't played the toughest schedule in the world. And that this Carolina team isn't, what last year's team was. But ultimately, they wanted to kind of figure out, like, all right, how is this going to go in a nail biter in a game in which we got to make the tougher plays? And that's what they are, guys. Like, these guards are tough, physical. I love their backcourt, and I'm going to talk to three of them here. You're going to hear from it in a second with Clayton and Alijah Martin. Will Richards is awesome. Here's what I'll say. You look at them, the eye test, you look at this Florida team, and you say to yourself, they have all the pieces. They fit together. They've got multiple guards who can make plays. They've got skilled bigs. They've got tough bigs who know their role. They've got enough depth. They've got experience. I don't know. I think this team has a chance. Now, their first 3 games in the SEC are brutal. I think if you look at how they go to Rupp, January 4th, and then Arkansas is in there. I forget. But they're 3 brutal games to start the SEC play. So it's going to be interesting if they go in undefeated, which they probably will. And what if they lose 3? How do they react to that? But I think they reacted well tonight at the end of the game, and that's important.
All right, Jeff, you teased that interview that you had with a couple of guards from Florida. So let's get into that conversation with Walter Clayton Jr. and Alijah Martin, 2 of the guards of Florida that combined for 31 of the Gators' 90 points.
All right, I'm here with 2/3 of my favorite backcourt in America. You gave me crap earlier. I never said you guys weren't the best backcourt in America. All right, Walter Clayton, Alijah Martin. You guys, Richard. What's that? Will Richard's not here. He dipped out. Tough win tonight. You're up 17 against Carolina in a Carolina crowd here. Mm-hmm. They fought back. They took the lead. You ended up gutting it out and winning. What did this say about this team? You're new here with this team. What did this say about this group that you don't quite know yet can win a grinder like this?
I was just telling Walt, like, we could do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been waiting to see what we do in the foxhole, and, like, coming out victorious the way we did it in front of 16, 20,000 of their fans on the road, and to come in here and, like, do it that fashion, like, there's nothing we can't do.
I love watching you guys because you're true guards. You're not point guards. You're not 2 guards. You guys can kind of do everything. What's it like? Again, obviously we don't have Will here too, but what's it like playing with these guys?
Man, it's great. I was just telling Alijah, it's one of the few teams, man, where I feel like just we just could pick each other up each night in and night out. You never know who the great game gonna come from, and then if we all get going in, I feel like everybody in trouble. So it's just great to be on this team, and I'm glad we got that dub in that fashion.
All right, listen, I'm not gonna lie. Last year was tough watching you at times. It was tough. You weren't yourself. Mm-hmm. I felt like you were out there coasting at times. Now I felt like you're free. Like, and that's no disrespect to last year's team or anything, but you just look different. Yeah. Why?
My coaches, my teammates, always like pouring into me. And no credit to my old school, old teammates or whatever. No discredit. But
That's right.
We were so guard heavy that like I didn't have to show up every game. That team was just full of ballers, and you know what I'm saying. I just put a lot of work in. Let me just say, I just put a lot of work in this summer. So,
all right. So you guys are undefeated, Walt. You're 7 in the country going into this game. You got a couple bye games coming up that I know you don't want to look past, but then you go to Rupp. You play Kentucky. You start an SEC schedule that, man, it might be the best league not only in America right now. Like, this is one of the best leagues I've seen, maybe ever. Me covering this, and I'm old. You can tell by the gray hair.
Nah, man, it's great. Like you said, SEC being one of the best leagues. So I think that was a great reason or a great chance for us to come in here and get the dub the way we did. It's going to be a lot of games we got to grind it out in SEC. And like you said, we can't look past some other games that we got to play. We're going to go in there, win those, get those done. But it's just great to come here and get this experience, man. And I'm just ready to do it with these guys.
Is this the best backcourt in America?
Yes. Damn right.
All right, hey, I ain't arguing right now. I ain't arguing. Listen, good to see you guys.
Appreciate
good luck, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Come on, Jeff. Don't do that to yourself, man. Don't call yourself old. Say I'm seasoned. Don't say old, man. You call somebody old, they want to square up with you, man.
Listen, I saw a 15-year-old Tyler Hansbrough. I'm old. I'm old
now.
Yeah, you are. Yes, you are.
All right, T.O., before we got into that interview with Jeff and Walter Clayton Jr. and Alijah Martin, we were having a little bit of a discussion about Florida's schedule, right? I mean, 11-0, I would say that one of the truest challenges that I've seen was North Carolina tonight with this group, where they were really pushed to try and pull out this win. What do you think of this Florida team after their first 11 games, especially heading into SEC play? Jeff touched on this. Like, the first 3 games are bathed in SEC hell. You go to Kentucky, you have Tennessee back at home, and then you go on the road against Arkansas.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal. But here's where I think they can have success even with that schedule. You look up and down their roster. I'm just a big fan of what Alex Condon's able to do, understands his role. You guys alluded to it. 2 massive dudes at the 4 and the 5. Will Richard transfers over from Belmont. It took him a little bit to get comfortable. Dude's comfortable now. Dude's comfortable, and they're huge and just physically wide-bodied, long-armed guys. Walter Clayton's a bucket. We all know that. And Alijah Martin, even though he didn't shoot it great tonight, you could see he's starting to come into his own and get more comfortable. The reason I think this team can be better in SEC play and maybe squeak out, 1-2 of those wins in that first 3-game stretch. They play Tennessee at home. That's going to be massive. Tennessee, Florida hate each other. That all being said, you have guards like that, as big and strong and old. They're not going to turn it over on the road as much, and they can really shoot it. And you have an end-of-clock guy in Walter Clayton Jr. who can just create a shot whenever he so pleases or so chooses. Like, this Florida team, really, we talk about their schedule. They've played, Florida State, Wake Forest, Virginia, Arizona State, North Carolina. It ain't for the lack of trying to schedule well. It's just those other teams haven't lived up to their billing, but you can only play the teams that are in front of you at some point. And here they are, 11-0. Might as well have been a road game in Charlotte, because that's very much Tar Heel country right there in the middle of Charlotte. I work at that building almost every day. It is Tar Heel country. It is so difficult to win basically in Tar Heel country. They come out because they're big, they're physical, they don't turn the ball over, and they freaking rebound the basketball. Big fan of Florida. I think they're going to be right up there towards the top of the SEC. But my God, boys, like, the SEC this year, as good as it's going to be ever, And when you have veteran guards and a couple guards that can score on top of massive size, I mean, they're they surefire all layup line team because they look the part.